Hey everybody, I'm John,
I'm Nate.
and we just watched Hana-Bi, or fireworks in English, and it was one of the best. It's definitely I would say it's the best Japanese film I've ever watched, and just an amazing cinematic experience. But you know a lot more about this movie, so I'll let you start.
Yeah, dude. So fireworks, Hana-Bi, incredible movie. This is probably my favorite Kitano movie ever. I really, really enjoy this movie. I feel like I picked it up when I was like 13 or 14 on DVD at a thrift store, and it's been like my best kept secret ever since. I remember trying to like show everybody I can this movie, and like I think we talked about it earlier, but I showed my parents, my siblings, and it's just been like everybody seems to enjoy it. I mean, but nobody knows what it is, at least around here. And I feel like it needs more recognition, and so that's one of the reasons I picked it for this first first foray into the Kitano movies. I feel like this is probably the most introductory friendly of his movies. The violence is there, but I mean, you get so much story and character development that the violence kind of takes a back seat, and that's kind of rare for a Kitano movie, as you'll see. I'm not saying they're like all super violence heavy, but this one I would say tones it down a little less than some of the or a little more than some of the others. Now, this was like 1997, and I think we talked about it as well. It feels similar in story structure to Pulp Fiction, and that's from 1994. So I don't know if Kitano saw Pulp Fiction and was like, hey, maybe I should structure my movie similarly, but could be. But there's nothing like it. It's so groundbreaking and incredible, in my opinion.
It is most definitely a movie to the point of you showing it to your friends and family and all that. It is a movie that makes you want to do that. Like you watch it and you start it out, and it does not start out slow by any means, but it starts out in a way that leaves you with a lot of questions, I will say. And as the time the movie goes on, it keeps connecting pieces and like just putting things in place, and things are falling into place. And then by the end, my jaw was dropped. I mean, it was, by the end, it was, I was speechless.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. The way everything weaved and moved together, and it genuinely is like, it makes you like, immediately when I finished this, the first thought I had was like, Graham has got to see this.
Yeah.
Like my brother's got to see this, or like my dad has got to see this. But it really makes you want to share it. It's an incredible movie.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece for sure. I think. Anyways, they're like, I watch a lot of Kitano's movies. Like I've told you before, he's my favorite Japanese director.
Yeah.
And I hold a lot of his movies to high standard, but I think Fireworks to me is his masterpiece. I think if there's any one movie of his that I've seen, more than the rest, it's definitely Fireworks. And the movie is just super poetic and beautiful. It does have a sense of overwhelming dread, I'd say. A lot of the movie, you feel like, just things are horrible things are happening to Kitano's character, Nishi. And so he just can't catch a break with all the things that are happening around him. And really, it's stuff happening to other people, but you see the way that it's affecting him. And you really see this man start to break throughout the film. And Kitano does it in such a way that his character seems calm and collected, but inside he's not. He's about to break.
Something very subtle that was that I loved throughout the whole movie is he's a man of very little words, very few words, Nishi, but every now and then you'd see his lip twitch.
Yeah.
And it's like he almost wanted to say something, or he almost had like a very strong emotion, but then reeled it back in really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And it shows it's a really good sign of like a life of having awful things happen, but not being able to react. And because you have to be strong, you have to just you were the only one in the situation who could be the Rock, so you had to be. And it's a phenomenal way to show just a man who's on the brink and can't break yet because he's still got that one person who's holding on to him. And I'll go like a basic, like a something to pull people in from a new person who watched it perspective. Yeah, a former cop is struggling with his friend who's been through a tragedy, and also his wife who has some form of cancer. And so he gets a loan from a Yakuza group and has some trouble paying it back. And events happen, more tragedies happen, things just go all awry. But by the end, I would say everything. It's a shock ending. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But this is definitely a movie where I'm not talking about the ending. Like, this is a movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie you have to watch to know the ending. It's
absolutely.
Yeah. It's a perfect one of those movies where you're just wondering what's going to happen. It's keeping you on the edge of your seat, and then boom.
Right.
It's over.
Yeah. So Kitano in this movie, or directing this, in terms of his directing style, this movie does a good job of showcasing how he directs, and that includes, like, I'm trying to think of it, but like having weird random slapstick comedy thrown in, and I think that really makes this movie approachable for a lot of people, because or it could be approachable for a lot of people who are on the fence or haven't seen it, because it'll have like moments of seriousness that are broken up with moments of comedy, and I think that works for this movie really well, because it just all flows so well together. You've got a lot of violence, action, crime. It's a drama for sure, but then it has moments of comedy thrown about. And would you say that that's like out of place in this movie? Because I feel like when I watched it with my wife, she kind of thought it was a little out of place.
I think to me, it really shows how, like, even though all these like crazy things were happening to him and he was having this terrible like time of things, it was like I was, while you were saying that, one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie came to mind, and it's very simple and it's only about 2 minutes, but it's when he comes home with the pastries for his wife. That was one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, because there is not a single word spoken, and yet it is one of the most accurate on-screen depictions of a husband and wife that have been married for a long time interacting that I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, it was genuine. It felt like genuinely watching a husband and wife just enjoy some alone time, very peacefully and very just like calmly. And I think it happened right after like a crazy event. So it was such a breath. Like, it was a relief. I feel like all of those moments are, the movie is giving you its own cool down periods Whereas like you go and watch some other movies where it's like all this terrible stuff happening the whole time and then it ends and you almost feel like you have to decompress afterwards. I feel like
Yeah.
he perfectly balanced the like rising action and the decompression. I feel like it's perfectly balanced.
For sure. I definitely have to agree. I never at any point watching it thought like those scenes didn't have a reason to be in the movie. I think they all are perfect, and I think it definitely adds to the movie in a huge way.
For sure.
Another thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is how realistic this movie is and how grounded it feels to me. So when I watched Pulp Fiction growing up, and I really liked that movie, and I use that as an example because it's kind of similar in tone, but being like a crime drama. But Pulp Fiction, I never at any point could relate to any of the characters or think like, hey, this character is realistic. This could be a real person, or these scenarios could be real. But this movie feels very grounded in reality to me, even if. I don't know. I didn't grow up in Japan. I don't live there, so I don't know how the Yakuza are or any of that stuff. But from media and the way that we've seen how they act and things, I think this movie is very realistic in its depiction. And it just, I don't know. It doesn't feel crazy. It doesn't feel like anything super crazy. Even though he does, I'll spoil this. He does. No, I won't say it. He does something major in the movie that, I mean,
I'll say this. Like no clues at all, but he does something in a way that you would exactly expect it to be done.
Exactly.
Like you see it done in movies. You see this thing done in movies a lot, and it's always outrageous and it's always crazy. The way it is done in this movie is definitely the most realistic way I think I've ever seen it go down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for sure, yeah, like I definitely very grounded in reality. Because I mean, when it comes up and it's in the camera view for like 30 seconds, it was so cool because it had me like guessing so much. I was like, is it gonna like what is he good like?
Yeah.
It was insane. But that is definitely one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah, I agree. So, and then I want to talk about the paintings. There are a lot of paintings shown throughout this movie. This movie is very artsy and full of artistic. It's very artistic. It's full of moments that are just showing paintings going across the screen, and it's always beautiful, like beautiful paintings. Those were all painted by Takeshi Kitano himself. So. Yes. Yeah.
What?
Yes. Kitano himself painted those paintings. So I believe it was 1994. He was in a pretty horrific motorcycle accident, and it almost took his life, and it caused some of the nerve endings in his face to become messed up. So if you notice in the movie, there are times where his eye is twitching. People have mistaken it for Tourette's, but no, it's like something to do with the nerve endings in his face. That's a side thing. Sorry. During that period where he was, I guess, laid up after getting in the accident, he painted all of those paintings, and so he decided to use them for this movie, which just shows how talented of a person Kitano is. I mean, to do all these things, the man started as a comedian doing manzai, and now he becomes a director and actor and acts in his own films.
Jack of all trades.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, he really can do it all.
For sure.
Wow. And I mean, obviously, for people who haven't seen the movie, like you haven't seen these paintings, but knowing, like just knowing everything that just the little bit I know about Takeshi Kitano, and then to have that added on, and to even have the circumstance of why he drew them, like that's even important in the context of the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah,
oh, that's
I feel like it's
incredible.
a very personal story when you know that, and you know that
Yeah.
the subject matter of the movie. And then, yeah, so there was that, and then there's something else. So, I mean, his daughter makes that brief cameo at the end there.
Mm.
Um, so, and that's his actual daughter. That's shown at the end. The score. That's something I wanted to talk about. The
Yes.
soundtrack. Dude, Joe Hisashi, an
Mm.
incredible composer.
Just perfect. I mean,
Mhm.
every moment was backed by the most absolute, like it was, and it wasn't all dreamy, and it wasn't all ethereal, because Joe Hisashi can make some angelic sounding music, but when it needed to be calm and kind of like bouncy, it was calm and bouncy, and when it needed to be sad, it was very sad, and when it needed like, oh, it was one of his best scores that I think he's ever composed. Like, it
For sure.
was gorgeous.
Yeah, I had when I first the first 10 times I've seen this movie, I never really even thought about the score, because I'd watch it on the TV and I just I wasn't thinking much about the music. But we rewatched it just now and I had headphones on, and I just I heard it. I was blown away. I was like, I'd never heard it sound this good.
I'm so
And
happy. That was the first time I'd seen it with headphones.
yeah, so I went in and started adding these songs to my soundtrack playlist, so I could just listen to that in the car. I mean, it's that good. It's seriously.
It really is. Like,
I don't.
I'm seriously. You need to send me those songs. Like,
Yeah,
straight up.
for sure. So yeah, this film, I don't know. I think it's incredible. I think it's so good. Again, I showed it to my brothers. One of them doesn't watch any Japanese films at all. He thought it was incredible. He loved it. I showed my dad. My dad hates reading subtitles. He didn't care with this one. I mean, there's dialogue, but there's not a whole lot of dialogue. A lot of it is silent.
For sure. That's another really big point. Like, if you want to show it, if you watch it for yourself, like if you're a big fan of Japanese media and you watch it for yourself, it really is an easy to start one for someone who really has no foray in it, because there really isn't a lot of dialogue. That was something I was thinking near the end. I was like, dang, this I bet the word count in this movie's pretty low.
Yeah.
Like like definitely probably sub 2,000. Like, there might be more than 1,000 words, but I definitely don't think there's 2,000 words.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of talking. It's a lot of, like, speaking about the a lot of artistic shots with the paintings. There's also a lot of like landscapes and scenery shots backed by, I mean, if you get Japanese countryside backed by Joe Hisashi score, I mean, there's not much better that you can see in media format. So
there's a lot of shots of Mount Fuji off in the distance. Again, backed by the Joe Hisashi soundtrack. So yeah, it's incredible.
Absolutely fantastic.
I've just got this DVD here. I wish somebody would like put this on 4K or something, because imagine seeing that in 4K or seeing any of these paintings in 4K. I know it probably won't happen, but I mean, it's something to hope for.
Yeah, it's definitely something to shoot for.
Yeah, so like, I think I've told you, but I was like 13, 14, in a thrift store here. We live in like, we're in Alabama, and you don't see stuff like this in like an Alabama thrift store. But
never.
There was like a stack of DVDs, and I feel like I pulled Fireworks out first. I'm like, what is this?
Wow.
And then I look, and there's like 3 or 4 more behind it, and they're all Kitano movies. And so I just grabbed them all.
That was destiny.
And bought them. Yeah. Watched Fireworks, loved it. Watched the others and loved those. And it was really strange. I just never would have expected to find those movies in a thrift store, especially, in Alabama. But so I've been a big fan of Kitano ever since, and I was like, again, very excited to watch this again and watch it with you. And
Yeah,
be able to talk about it here because more people need to know about and talk about Kitano.
for sure. He
Now,
definitely needs recognition in the Western side of things.
for sure, yeah. I think we talked about well, we didn't talk about this. All of his friends show up in this movie.
Oh
I would
yeah.
say they're his friends. There's a few familiar faces if you've seen Kitano movies. They show up throughout the course of his filmography, and I can't. I'm blanking on their names right now, but if you watch these movies, you'll recognize them. I mean, they're very familiar faces for sure. And then like
I will say this is my first Takeshi Kitano movie as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and boy, did I start off with a firework, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely oh wow. It's really leaving me lost for words. Like it was stupendous.
So, one thing that I was thinking about the whole time watching this movie, rewatching this movie, was, excuse me, sorry. Since I played the Yakuza games, I got really big into those and started playing a lot of those games. I think I mentioned to you, Kitano shows up in one of the games, the sixth game, I believe, and so the other two guys also, I want to say, appear in Yakuza at some point, and so it just goes to show how like influential Kitano's early works were, and how much he's deeply rooted himself in the Yakuza film and Yakuza culture, I would say, because this is definitely a piece of Yakuza history when he's making movies, So, and then getting to be a part of the game series. So, I don't know. I just feel like he's super influential. Tarantino is a huge fan of Takeshi Kitano. I watched an interview with him talking about Sonatine. I think it's the name. The name. It's like it's hard to say, but I believe it's Sonatine. Sonatine. I don't know. But really good movie, and that's one of Kitano's favorites. Hopefully, we'll get to that one at some point. But I guess I'll go ahead and say my score. If it's not obvious at this point, it's a 5 out of 5 for me.
Agreed.
This is my favorite Kitano film. I love it. I love it so much. It's funny because this one. There's 3 that I show everyone. Like I try to anyone I can, I try to show them, and the 3 are Fireworks, Getting Any, which Getting Any is just it's a completely opposite film from this.
Flip on its head.
Yeah, it's a spoof comedy for anyone wondering what that is. So Getting Any is a spoof comedy about a guy who wants to have sex. That's pretty much it. He wants to have sex in a car. He wants to buy a car so he can have sex in it. But so there's that, and then there's Brother. Now, Brother is one I showed my younger brother. Again, doesn't like Japanese films. He wanted to buy it from me. He was like, "Can I please just can you give this to me, or can you buy it for sell it to me?" So I thought about buying him a copy just so he has it for Christmas or his birthday. But yeah, he loved it. And that's one of his favorites. Favorite Kitano movies. So. I don't know. I can't sing enough praises for Takeshi Kitano and Fireworks. Anyone watching, do yourself a favor and watch Fireworks right now. Sure. It's on Internet Archive. That's actually where we watched it because we were having some trouble with getting it to play. So, hopefully it'll be up when you still be on Internet Archive when you decide to to watch it. I say that because they take things down all the time. I'm always seeing things, getting put up and then taken down again. So as of now, Fireworks Hana-Bi is on Internet Archive. And it's a really good quality version. It looked like Blu-ray quality, I would say. Yeah. So, have you got anything else you'd like to say about Fireworks Hana-Bi?
it was the last. I'll say this: the last hour feels like 20 minutes. So if you're one of those people who, because I know you exist out there, and I really don't understand it, but you can watch a 24 episode series, but not an hour and a half movie. If you don't like watching movies, this one goes by super quick, and it is so worth it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it like grabs you by the shirt and like just, it just drags you along for the ride. Like you can't take your eyes off the screen because it's just so interesting. And I don't know, it again, I can't hype this one up enough. I think it has enough for everyone. I think it has enough things for everyone. It's hard to not recommend Fireworks. To anyone.
It is oddly probably the best slice of life movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because strangely, it is kind of like a slice of life movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has those elements at certain points. And most of the movie is a slice of life because it's dealing with some very realistic things. So I will say it is a little depressing at times. It has some sad, depressing elements, but again, like we said, it's broken up by comedy, and I really do think, like John said, it heightens and then drops it back down, and it does it in a way that it does kind of soften the blow from some of the more sad elements of the film. I mean, again, I would show anyone this. It's one that I hold to, I hold very high. And like if I were doing like a top 5, this is on my top 5. It's probably up next to the 1 or 2 spot, honestly, for me, because I love it that much. I really do. Again, it's one that I've watched more than any other movie, I would say. Next to Donnie Darko. But we'll get into that another time.
That's right.
I hate to.
That's going to be another long one. That's going to be another long video, but that'll be a fun one when we come to it. This is part 2 in our Japanarchy series, I would say, right? Do we want to still do that? Do we want to throw this into that, or do you think this is a Japanarchy movie, or do you think this is I feel like Kitano needs his own series. Yeah. His own series.
Yeah, I would say so.
This will be the first video in a yet unnamed Takeshi Kitano series.
We'll put it in the
mastermind that is Takeshi Kitano.
Yeah, we'll put it in the thumbnail and the title, but we'll just we'll come up with that later. But I guess I mean we could brainstorm a little bit. Maybe we'll do Getting Any or I don't know, Violent Cop next. The Violent Cop is Jesus. It's incredible. Well, I think it's incredible, but we'll see what you think. But anyways, I've got nothing else to say. I think if you're not sold on Fireworks by now, then I don't know what you're doing. Why are you still watching?
Yeah, for sure. If you're not planning on watching the movie, you're probably not here. So.
Yeah, exactly. We're 30 minutes in, and you skip to the end to see what we review it. There is no review. No, we just sat here and talked about the same scene for 30 minutes. Anyways, Fireworks, incredible movie.
Fantastic.
One of Kitano's best. I threw up a behind the scenes video on our shorts tab. So if you want to see kind of what Kitano thinks about the violence in his own movie, I thought it was pretty interesting what he had to say about
not what you would expect from the director of these movies.
Yeah, exactly. For somebody that shows so much violence. But So there's our review of fireworks. Sorry if I'm a little. I'm tired. I'm very tired. So sorry if I'm messing up. But
It's okay.
I tried my best.
We're pushing it. We're on that grind.
Yeah, man, for sure. So
no one knows.
So, yeah, if only they knew it was like 2 a.m. and we're out here filming the video. No, it's okay. But anyways, I love this. I love the raw, unedited videos that we do.
These are my favorite moments.
I'm not cutting this out.
Videos when I watch them because it's like it's the people being people. Like they're not like putting on a persona. They're just like laughing and being like, "Damn, man! Like what is happening?"
Absolutely, yeah. But that's our review of fireworks. If you like content like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell below to be notified on all future videos. And John, you wanna say this? Give the send off.
Everybody, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.